So in my previous videos on the TFS Enran 2 tent, which I will admit is very close on par with another for being my absolute favourite tent, there was quite a few comments about the materials on the tent from people who watched that video. And I think in this country in particular, we tend to spend a lot of time looking at the D value of the material, in that that tent is only a 7D. So that's a very, very thin sil nylon tent, but it makes it incredibly light. And a lot of people think that 10D should be the minimum, and you should go for a 20D or a 30D for a stronger material. But what a lot of people miss out on or don't understand is the second number in the description of that material, and that is the T value. So the majority of tents tend to have a 210T, so it'd be a 30D nylon 210T ripstop, and that 210T is the count, the thread count within the material, and that is what makes it not tear proof but more tear resistant. So the higher that number is, the better it is for coping with tears and strength. And something else that you may not realise. So the sil nylon version of the Enran 2 or 1 is a 7D 580T ripstop. So it is incredibly strong. And when I took it out in the pouring rain, they do say on the website that, you know, it is subject to stretching, and if you don't want a stretching, then go for the option of the sil poly version instead of the sil nylon. But I took it out and it poured down with rain all night long. And in the morning when I got up, it was still very, very taut. And I think that's down to the tear strength, the T value of that material, that it doesn't stretch as much. However, there is the option of the 10D polyester version, which is what I've got now, and it literally weighs 15 grams more than the 7D sil nylon. So you've still got that option to go either or. But the only downside to the polyester version, realistically, I can see, is it's not available in as many colours. So you've only got the option of grey or a khaki sort of colour. They call it camel. I always have khaki or green tents, and I love the green on the Enran 2. It's a stunning, stunning colour. But this time I thought I'd go for something different. I've gone for the grey version, and I've also gone for the 3-season inner, which is full mesh, and it's the 1-person version as well. So this one should give a much better vestibule than the 2-person. That's what an 877 gram single person tent feels like. Now that is without the pegs, but with the pegs it still only comes in at 940. You do need 2 trekking poles, the same as the 2-person. There's no change on that. But as I've said before, I always use trekking poles now when I've got a tent that needs them or not. So I don't include them in the weight because you don't carry them, you should walk with them. The pegs that you get are the DAC aluminium, 2 of those, and then 4 of the TFS carbon fibre stakes as well. So these weigh next to nothing. And you also get a repair kit in there as well. So I'll put the tent up now. I'm not going to show you me putting it up because you've seen that done before, but I'll go over the specifications and show you what it's like as a 1-person. The fly is exactly the same size as the 2-person. So the inner mesh, which is a 3-season version that I've got, is just smaller, a little bit shorter, but 220 centimeters still, but it's narrower. So there is more space for the vestibule. The other thing to note with the polyester outer is it's not a 580T ripstop, it's a 550T. So although it's a 10D, thicker material, stronger, it is a 550 rather than 580 that is on the sil nylon version. Also the inner, on the 4-season inner you have a monofiller mesh. Now this is a much finer mesh than you'd normally have, which helps to stop any kind of condensation or water drips coming through. You don't get that on the 3-season version. So on the 3-season that is all mesh, it is a poly 10D mesh, a nylon 10D ripstop. The floor on it is a nylon 10D 500T PU coated with a 2000mm hydrostatic head, which is the same as the outer shell. The pole is the same as the Enran 2. It's the DAC NFL Featherlight 8.7mm pole, and you have the same ball joint on the end as well. Okay, hopefully you can see that because the sun is reflecting off my screen. Now I've only used the 6 pegs that they give you, so 1 on each corner and 1 on each end. I haven't guyed the side guy outlines, and haven't got a peg in the bottom of the pole. The wind has just stopped. It was actually really windy a minute ago, but obviously as you can see, it's nice and tight. And I quite like this grey. Nice and solid. It's a good looking tent. I'm pretty positive that on the description it said you have a door this side and a door the other side, the same as the two-person. But obviously you've only got one door on the inner, because it's a one-person inner. But I've just gone around this, and there's only one door on it. So I'm assuming that if you only want a one-person tent, you buy the Enran 1P. But if you want the option of both, you buy the 2P and the 1P inner, and then you can swap them in and out. But then you've still got two doors. Not that I'd ever have two people in one tent. Right, let's take you inside and show you. Okay, so immediately you can see there is a much larger vestibule. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be. There's my foot. So 12 inches I suppose. Maybe 15, 16 inches. So 40 centimetres. But it does go all the way down. So you do get a lot more usable space. And the same on this side. Inside, as I say, this is all full mesh, but it's not the mono filler. I'll take you inside and show you what it's like for space. So after tightening it up, whilst from the outside, I tried to do it equally so that the inner was pulled in, partially tightened, and partially tightened in that corner. What I found was that sort of almost offset the inner of the tent further to the left, which took up more vestibule space. So I've loosened that one on the front of the tent, door side, same on the other end, and I've tightened it up on this side, and it sort of shunted the inner over a bit, and that's actually made a bit more space for the vestibule, which is nice. One thing I would really like is to have a T-zip, another zip there and one up here, so you can just fold this up, and then that way you've got full access to that part of the vestibule, because if you did want to cook inside, you've got to be in this door area here, whereas this would just give you a lot more access. So I think one more zip, just instead of a curve, straight T-zip down here and across, then you've got the same access on this side, same access on that side as well. And some people prefer to lay on their right while they're cooking, or on their left while they're cooking, or sit up. So at least it gives you the option then to do either of those. You can see now there is about 1.5 foot, so say 45 centimetres or so of vestibule space. So it has made a difference. If you can see me there, inside I'm sitting on my mat. This is a bit snug. It's shorter in the roof, so the top height internal is lower. I think it's 93 centimetres. So it is a bit more snug, but as I say, with this sort of tent I tend to lay down, and it is more of a 3-season option for me, so more chance of me just sitting outside enjoying that lovely sunshine that's out there. I do, however, have the option of tightening these toggles up. Now I did this before with my other Enran 2. I just wrapped them around the loop a couple of times, and that just gave a bit more space, just that little bit to help out, and it worked really well. But this is shorter, you can see it is shorter, but still tons of space. Let me show you. So my feet at the very squeak end of my mat, about 6 inches before the end of the tent, not touching the edges, which is absolutely fine. And headwise, I've got 10 inches above my head, tons of space. So this is a true 220 centimetre tent. So it's actually upright ends, no angled ends that loses you length and gives you an incorrect measurement rather than a true life measurement. Tons of space. If I sit up, my head does just brush it, and sitting up fully, it presses on it. But I'm bigger than most, and this isn't a problem. If I'm in the tent, I'll probably be laying down. It's that sort of style of tent. But there's still plenty of space inside here. It's a good width as well. I'll shut the mat over and I'll show you. So with the mat to one side, realistically, it's a 1.5 person tent, you know. You can get a dog here, no problem. Very small mat, could probably even fit my son in here. It's a squeeze, but I'd use the 2-person for that if I did. But there is enough space to put tons of gear. I mean, you can see my arm there. That's probably what, I don't know, 40 centimetres or so. There's tons of space. Down the bottom there you can see where my mat tapers in. you know, my foot, size 11, and nearly another foot past it. So there is absolutely tons of space to put gear. But then you've also got the full length vestibules. So you've got space all the way down the edges. There isn't so much on the other side because I have moved the inner over just to give me more space on the working vestibule. You do only get one pocket in here, which is a shame, but it's a pocket. Again, the ends, I've got them fully open at the moment, so this has a mesh top, and obviously you can zip it down for full flow ventilation. So I've got this fully open because I am sweating like a pig. Yeah, it's really nice. I like the colour. It's a bit different. It's a sort of a grey blue battleship maybe. Yeah, it's nice. Now there is one other option that you can do with this tent. It does have a limiter cord, so this is fixed to stop the arch of the pole going too far and not being in the right shape for the best stability and strength on the tent. So it's not adjustable, you can't tighten it or loosen it. But one thing that I saw, it was on Andy Wardle's video, which I didn't even think to do really, because I just thought I'm going to leave these alone in case it does some damage. As long as you keep hold of it and don't lose it. If you unclip that, there you go, that's actually, I thought I was going to spring back and disappear, but it doesn't. Then you can change the vestibule space from being 2 handspans to 3. So that now is an absolutely massive vestibule. That is more than enough space. So you could sit in here in a bit of bad weather, remove that clip, let it go open, do your cooking, and then you just got to pull it back in. I know I won't be able to do this one-handed, will I? No, I couldn't. But then you just clip it back on, position it back to where it should be, and away you go. So which is the tent for you? The Enran 1P or the 2P? Me personally, I'll go with the 2P and order the 1P inner separately. That way, as and when I want, I can change it over, have a mesh one like this, so for total hot summer, like today, the only day of the year where it's going to be warm enough to use it, I can put that mesh inner inside it, and then in the winter or any other time, I can stick the double inner in, and then I've got 2 doors, a lot more space, more room to spend inside if it's pouring down with rain. So which one would you choose? Tell me in the comments below. 1P, 2P, 7D sil nylon or 10D polyester. All good options. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you found it informative on this new tent, because I think it is absolutely fantastic. And TFS at the moment, they seem to be bringing out more and more new gear, and also they take the feedback on board. So stuff that we've gone back to them, they've actually looked at and said they're going to look at changing it. So there will be some new things coming out going forward, new tents, new options. Wang is a great designer and a great thinker, so he likes to look outside the box to the point now where he is actually looking at designing tents specifically for European use and for lanky gits like me, so we can fit in it and it suits our weather styles. Anyway, as I say, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it informative, and if you did, as always, hit the thumbs up, and please, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.